is Judy Nichols, and I'm here to share my personal story about scleroderma. Before I start, I'd like to thank the people that made this possible for me today. The Wexford Misaki Career Tech Center, the TV production class. Really appreciate them putting this video together and all the hard work that it took. And I'd like to thank the Michigan chapter of the Scleroderma Foundation for inviting me to do this video in the first place. So, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 54 years old, and I know I don't look it because when you have scleroderma, it tightens your face, it tightens everything in your body. So that's the benefit of it, is you have a little youthfulness to yourself with scleroderma. I've had scleroderma for 1,005 days. And I know that's a little crazy to count the days, but when you have scleroderma, every day matters. I'm here today to talk to you about some of the things I've experienced when I was diagnosed with scleroderma, and then what I'm living with today with scleroderma. I want to encourage you. I know I have patients out there today and advocates and people that are just newly diagnosed and people that have been living with scleroderma for a long time. But one of my goals with this video today is to bring you closer to what it means to live with scleroderma and how that you can battle this disease in your heart with the help of those around you. Now let me tell you a little bit about my family. I've been married to my husband Ken for 31 years. We're going on 32 this year. We have 3 wonderful sons, Jason, Kurt, and Joel, ages 29, 27, and 25. 2 beautiful daughter-in-laws, Heidi and Emily. And then, of course, like grandmas always like to brag, I have 8 terrific grandchildren. 4 to each son. Jason and Emily have 4, and Kurt and Heidi have 4. You know, it's the family. It's my support system that has been just a tremendous joy to my heart since I was diagnosed. When I first heard that I had scleroderma, my initial reaction was, sclero what? Which I am sure a lot of you feel too. I did not know what scleroderma was. I had not heard of the word, and I had no clue how I got it. And to this day, I can also say I don't know how I got it. I don't know why I have it, and I know it's incurable, but I know I can tell you I'm a fighter, and I'm going to work my best to try to get through this chapter of my life. When I was diagnosed with scleroderma, I had many initial symptoms, such as joints aching, huge fatigue. I would nap twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, and which was really unlike me. I had been a choir director for 31 years. I'm kind of age-activated ADD, so I used to be able to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, do my job, work all day, come home and still have energy. But when scleroderma hit my body, it was like a truck had run over me. I felt like my body had just sustained an accident. And after the initial diagnosis and the ologists I went to every type of ologist you can imagine to find out what scleroderma was doing and why I had it. Basically, I'm not going to go into detail of all my prescription medicines and stuff I took, but I can say that the general diagnosis came from blood work and the fatigue and this finding out what I didn't have to know what I was diagnosed with. Once I knew I had scleroderma, I tried to surround myself with physicians that knew a lot about the disease. Emotionally, I was devastated. I probably cried buckets of water, and my tears wouldn't stop some days. And I know a lot of you are sitting out there nodding your head saying, I know just how you feel. Scleroderma was devastating. It took away so much of what defined me. It defined Judy Nichols. I was a choir director. I raised horses. I used to ride horses a lot. And the biggest thing of all, I played piano. I played piano since I was 4 years old. And all of a sudden with this diagnosis, it changed my world. And it changed what I love to do so much. I no longer could play the piano like I used to. And I'm now happy to say I can play a little bit. I play with 3 fingers on the right hand and about 1 on the left. But I won't give up. And as you sit there and you think about what you're good at and things that you maybe have lost since you've had your scleroderma, I want to encourage you today to don't give up. Keep working at it. Keep it part of your life. What defined you then still can define you now. As I talked about a little earlier, my family, I want to tell you a little bit about the support they've been. Not only my family, but my church family and my school family. People that came to our rescue when I was diagnosed with meals, with comfort, with cards. One day, out of just boredom, I sat down and counted the cards, and I bet there were more than 500 cards that came over that first year of within my diagnosis. What a blessing that was to my life. And you know, speaking of blessings, I talked to you about our children and our grandchildren. Well, let me have you share right now with you one of our sons, Jason, and a little bit about his view or his take on how this affected our family.
Getting used to it, you know, by the time she was diagnosed, it was tough because the doctors were saying, you know, you're not going to be able to play piano, you're not going to be able to do this, or you might die, you know, so it was like, oh, it was just we weren't prepared for anything like that. After the condition started setting in, it was hard to see, you know, slowly she wasn't playing the piano as much, and she couldn't do, you know, the everyday things that she'd like to do. And then after about a year, you know, I mean, it was just, she was done. That was the hardest for us, and I think the hardest for Mom as well. But after a few months, she was just normal again. She took it very well, and she's been an inspiration kind of to everybody. You know, I don't whine about my little paper cuts anymore, and I try to be optimistic and to not complain as much as we used to, because, you know, a lot of people out there have it a lot worse than we do. And if you ever watch her try to do something, it gives you hope, and it gives you determination, I guess, because, you know, to see someone like that do something like that, it's, I don't know, it's encouraging. And it might sound funny, but she thanks God for what she's been given so she can be a blessing to others. And I think she's blessed more people in the past 2 years, than she has her whole life. And it's encouraging to see that. Also, anybody who might be diagnosed with this, find somebody. You know, don't lock yourself in. Don't go by yourself. Surround yourself with family. Surround yourself with people. That's what she did. And it makes a transition so much more better. Dad was always, I mean, I hope to be what my dad is someday. He's always been wonderful. You know, he never complains. You know, he's just perfect. So surround yourself with people you love and people you know, friends, family, and it'll help go a lot better. She's been an encouragement to ourselves and our family. She's been a joy. She's been a wonderful mom, excellent teacher. Couldn't really ask for anything better. She's been a good example. And living life by being a good example to others is probably the best way you could ever live life.
I was a student of Mrs. Nichols before she was diagnosed with scleroderma. Every day I wanted to go to choir and see her face, smile, and make me really happy. After she was diagnosed with scleroderma, her hands started to tighten, and she was a little bit sick in class and had to sit on a chair and wear mittens and socks. She was the most amazing person, and still to this day is, in fighting scleroderma.
When I first met Miss Nichols, I walked in the classroom, and it was like something from The Sound of Music, you know. And when she had the disease, I didn't know anything about it, and I thought it was nothing more than like the common cold. And until it took her physically, I had no idea what it really was. She really stood through it.
Hi, I'm Chris Darrow, and I'm so thrilled to be able to talk with you today about Mrs. Judy Nichols. In my 17 years of teaching, I've met very few people like Judy. In fact, when we first met, she was coming back to Cadillac High School from the middle school, and people kept talking about this legend who was coming back, and I thought, okay, a legend's coming back. She is. We became fast friends. She was a tremendous, tremendous mentor for me, and I think it's because she just had a personal energy and a personal commitment to teaching that I just found contagious, and I really felt as though we connected. and we did personal things together. She has a pool in her backyard, and she would invite my kids to come swim in Miss Judy's pool. And then there came a summer where we couldn't because Miss Judy was sick. And that was hard to explain to my kids, but it was scary for me because I didn't know what was wrong with Judy, and she didn't know what was wrong. When she was eventually diagnosed with scleroderma, I'd only heard of that one time before, and I wasn't really sure what that meant. Slowly we all found out that that meant she couldn't be here. And I was sad for all of the things in her retirement that was just a few years away she wouldn't be able to do. She wanted to race horses. She wanted to play piano at people's weddings. And what was she going to do? And I think for a while she was nervous about that, but eventually she came to realize that scleroderma is a disease, and at present it is not a disease that is curable, but it is definitely something that you can live through. And someone who loves music so much has found ways to continue to bring that back in her life. Just this past year, she came in and worked with the girls' volleyball team here in Cadillac and taught them how to harmonize to the national anthem. And so they sang the national anthem for their own home volleyball games, which was awesome. And that's just a completely Judy type thing. She teaches piano lessons now to her grandsons. She works with music at Awana. And I just think for someone like her, she made a really conscious choice not to let scleroderma stop her from teaching and destroy her love of music. She really, I feel like she embodies the idea that you might not beat it, but you don't have to let it beat you. And I really feel she's a tremendous example for how to live with scleroderma.
So here we are, living with scleroderma. Some days we live with a smile. Some days we live with tears. Some days we live with a grump on our face because we are so uncomfortable we can't stand it. The itching, the scratching, the sores, the hard skin, the difficulty breathing, whatever shape or form scleroderma has come to your body with. But what I'm here today to do is to encourage you to live your scleroderma, whether you're a patient or whether you're a support member. Live it with a smile, because you are important. For me, it's been my faith, my family, and those that have surrounded me, keeping me up, my head above water as I face this disease. For you, seek out someone to help you. Seek out those people that will help you live with scleroderma, with a smile on your face. Thank you for allowing me to share my story with you. Okay. That's it.